Join us as we prepare for a huge divisional game that could have huge implications in the NFC. The tough thing is, the Packers might have to do this without Jordan Love. So let's jump into this game plan.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm cashed.
All right, everybody. This is a huge game coming up for the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. My name is Jordan Olson. My co-host is Rob Ralph. We are best friends and co-creators of the Sounds Gouda podcast. We thank you for being here and listening today. We're excited to be talking all things Packers and Lions in this huge divisional matchup. And just a quick reminder that we do have new content every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So let's jump into it, Rob. So the line originally, originally way back, it was Packers +1, like early in the season. As we creep closer this week, I think Vegas has been keeping an eye on, obviously, how good the Lions looked. I looked before Jordan Love's injury, it was Lions -1, and now today it's Lions -3.5. So, I mean, I think that would reflect on the uncertainty of Jordan Love's status. We got a little bit of positive news earlier in the week. We are recording this early in the week, so we don't know Jordan Love's status. So a lot of what we're talking about today is going to be hypothetical. But yeah, I think that's the big storyline of this game. So how are you feeling about this matchup versus the Lions, Rob? And, talk to me about the Jordan Love, Malik Willis of it all.
Yeah. The Lions are, what year is it? 2024? The year of our Lord?
2024.
Yeah. When did we ever think that we'd say that the Detroit Lions are the best team in football? Never? Okay.
I used to have this old saying that the Lions are the Lions, and now my wife, which is a Lions fan, she smacks me, when I say stuff like that. But I can't say it anymore because Dan Campbell has this football team playing really good, and it's bright future for them.
Yeah, my goodness, man. And yeah, my family's over there in Michigan too, as well, as you know. And they're a big Lions fan, had many, many decades of suffering. So there's a slight sweet spot in my heart for the Lions, but not when they're playing the Packers, man.
Not
the
this
Lions, week. Yeah, not this week. That's right. The Lions are average? And I know they played the Titans. They absolutely murdered the Tennessee Titans. Titans are a really bad football team, so it's not that shocking, but they really put it on them. They're averaging, 43 points, I believe, in the last 4 games. They do have the number 1 offense. Kind of a weird game that they had, too. Not a weird game, I guess. They absolutely destroyed the Titans, like I was just saying. But Goff only had 85 passing yards, but 3 touchdowns. They did have a special team return for touchdown for Khalif Raymond. But they scored 52 points on just 225 yards of offense. I mean, we literally say it right in here, but that's not a typo. So it's just the Lions are absolutely loaded. Dan Campbell, they are throwing every trick in the bag. They're having offensive linemen try and catch touchdowns. They're having running back throw for touchdowns. I got to think that it'd be really hard to game script against, though, too, as well. But they're a very, very good football team. Jared Goff is getting MVP caliber type of consideration. They have one of the top pass offenses. They have one of the best offensive lines. They have 2 really good running backs, and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs is just looking like an absolute, not that he was a different person from last year, but he's looking like he's taken another level or 2 up, and it looks extraordinarily fast and tough to beat. That too. And then their defense. Yeah, they did lose Aiden Hutchinson for the year, but they're still very stout against the run. I think me and Jordan were talking about that they rank 5th in stopping the run. They do have some weaknesses, though, too. They're a little bit more susceptible in the back end with the secondary, who's I believe they're marked 26th or 27th total in the league. So you can throw on them, too, as well. And I think some teams, including like the Minnesota Vikings, would have shown that, too. But they're a very good football team. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we lose this. Again, this depends on what you're going to do if it's Jordan Love. With Jordan Love, I would expect some more I would suspect some more spreading out and trying to beat that secondary. I think Matt LaFleur, sometimes to his demise, likes to try and hit a weakness that he's known that he's seen on film until he actually gets it, instead of trying to run and scheme and run his offense. I'm loving what they're doing with Malik Willis. Button it up, run the football, play action, RPO with Malik Willis. You can get him out on the side, and then Malik Willis makes these really nice and timed throws. Example being last week with Jaden Reed and that Y leak that helped set up that field goal, and a really good can play too, just from Malik Willis to be able to get that and see that coverage and throw that ball. So you're going to get two different types of game scripts, whether it's Jordan Love and or Malik Willis. But I am just as confident with Malik Willis coming in for the Packers. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm confident in his ability to come in, keep that Detroit Lions defense on their heels, and be able to use some of his athleticism too to be able to get out of the pocket and get some first downs. So those are some of the things I'm thinking about. What about you, Jordan?
Yeah, the Lions are dangerous, and I'll talk a little bit about Jordan Love versus Malik Willis and maybe how they can win this game. But if it is Willis, they're very likely going to have to pass the ball more than 20 times. I think if we're so committed to the run, I know the Texans were really stout against the run too, and we still had a nice day rushing the ball against them. Jaguars as well. So I don't think that we totally should shy away. But I think Malik Willis is going to have to throw the ball at least 20 times. He threw the ball 19 times against the Titans, and he's probably going to have to match that on a few passes more to soften up that Lions defense enough for us to be effective in the run game. So, and I think if he plays within the scheme and Matt LaFleur comes up with a great game plan, I think that that's all in front of him. When he's stepped up in the pocket and let it rip, he's been pretty accurate this year. I feel okay if he is the starter for this game. Not what you want to see, especially early in the season when you circle the Lions and the Packers as a big matchup, and you want to see Love versus Goff and everybody full strength. I mean, heck, I want to see Hutch in this game. I want to see Williams in this game, which Jameson Williams is going to miss this game as a part of a 2-game suspension, so the Lions will be short him. But this is a matchup you want to see full strength, power on power. And you want to have bragging rights saying that we beat you at our best. And I'm sure that a lot of the Lions fans that are really the true fans would say the same thing. So, if we do have Jordan Love, I think that is the way that we win the game, is through the air. I think that he needs to be smarter with the ball, which there's obviously been a lot of conversation about the very Brett Favre year he's having so far. The Lions are very good at taking the ball away. They're number 1 in the league in turnover differential. They've got two safeties on their roster that have 4 or more interceptions in Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. So despite the yards they give up, they do take the ball away in the secondary. So yeah, I think that, and Josh Jacobs putting the ball in his hands, 25, 30 carries. We got news on him that, whatever concerns we had about him at the end of the game, Matt LaFleur says, hey, don't worry, it's not going to be an issue. So we should see a healthy Jacobs out there on Sunday. But we're gonna need him, Wilson, Brooks. Who knows? Maybe this is even, I don't know where we're at with Marshawn Lloyd. It's been very quiet, but kind of interesting to see him activated, especially if we have to lean into the run game this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though I know we've all, been impressed with what Emmanuel Wilson and / Chris Brooks too, right, has been able to give the Packers so far. And it looks like that staff has got a lot of confidence in those guys. But Marshawn Lloyd definitely brings a different element. I would say, like, what Jahmyr Gibbs probably brings, to the Detroit Lions, to give it that type of comp. Just can stretch the field horizontally, can go really east and west. And what did you have on him? A mock on him from before this year, DeAndre Swift, right? Something similar to that. So, yeah, I how do you feel as far as, like, and I know too, like with the Jags, They had Brian Thomas Jr. and Christian Kirk obviously go out with his injury, and then they were just freaking eaten alive by those tight ends. Bretton Strange, probably one of the best, if not the best. I know that's debatable because we've played Trey McBride and a couple other good ones, but Sam Laporta, comes in and has that trend of tight end dominance. They were using him quite a bit too in this last game in the complete rout of the Tennessee Titans. He could do some damage to us too over the middle.
Yeah, and he's kind of not had the same year he had as a rookie so far, and I think a lot of that has to do with the dominance that they've had in the run game and maybe not needing him so much. But, we said earlier against the Cardinals that Trey McBride was the best tight end we faced this season. This Laporta is the best tight end that we have now faced so far this season, and he's a real weapon. They've got St. Brown out there. They've got the two-headed running attack with Gibbs and Montgomery, but I am concerned about our ability to cover Sam Laporta. I don't know who you put on him. I don't know how much time Williams is going to miss. And again, if you're listening to this on Saturday, we're recording this earlier in the week. We might have some very positive news about Evan Williams. But, I mean, if as much as Cooper has been playing great, having guys like Edrin Cooper have to go up against a skilled technician like Sam Laporta is a recipe for disaster. So I project a big game for Sam Laporta. I just hope we can neutralize his impact enough to not have that be the difference in this game. So
Yeah, and even Keyshawn Nixon, right? He's been getting burned by the tight ends. Insert that Evan Ingram. That was a great throw, and he went up and grabbed it. There's literally nothing I think most of any slot cornerback could do on that one, but
there's just a big size differential there. You're talking about a guy who's 5'10 versus, a 6'4",
Right.
6'5 guy. I mean, I think that might be part of the reason that they move him to the outside. I mean, you get to go up against guys that are 6 foot, 6'1" instead of 6'4", 6'5",
Limit that. Yeah, exactly. Right. Spot on. That too. And, I was liking what I was seeing from Devontae Wyatt in his first game back from coming back from an injury, at least with the Jags game, and him having that big fumble recovery. Can we get a pass rush on this absolute behemoth of an offensive line? It's probably the best offensive line. If not, it's definitely in the top 3. I know they're trying to do some different stuff that wasn't really working for them. The Jags seem to have all the answers, and I can tell you, Dan Campbell's got that film running back and forth into his head. So maybe, we were talking about this on the other pod, but maybe Halfley will kind of learn to be able to try and marry that, when to blitz, when to not, man coverage versus zone, that sort of stuff. I tend to hurt him more than a couple times, at least on the flats, some running backs and some slot receivers against the Jags. But can we get some pass rush? Rashawn Gary's out there doing his basketball moves to no avail over the middle of centers and guards. Can we get home a time or two? Because just like Trevor Lawrence, who we really didn't get too much on without sending a blitz, Jared Goff is a statue. So any sort of sack pressures, that sort of stuff would be huge in us, obviously, being able to win this game.
I think they bought him a tremendous amount of time, and Goff has proven this season to be better against pressure than he has his entire career. So, kudos to that staff and Jared Goff for kind of neutralizing his biggest weakness. But Rashawn Gary, LVN, Preston Smith, they do have a heavy matchup against Penei Sewell, which is a Pro Bowler, all-pro guy at right tackle, and Taylor Decker out there. I hope that at a minimum that's kind of neutralized. But if Goff has time back there, he's proven that he's very accurate. I think he's like 74% completion percentage on the year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough day at the office, so we might have to generate some pressure up the middle, see some exotic blitzes, or just hope that Rashawn Gary can find a way to win once or twice in this game, which it's going to be pretty hard to do. So if he can even come away with a sack in this game and generate a little bit of pressure, that's a big win. So I think the Packers are going to have to slow the pace of this game down. The Lions have really it's been a track meet for them. They've outscored a lot of opponents, gotten ahead really big. I think we're going to have to slow the game down, run the ball, win the time of possession, and win the turnover battle. for this game. And then just my other point before we get into some score predictions is that I'm concerned about who's going to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. Xander, although we heard he doesn't have a significant long-term concern, he's got a knee injury. We don't know what's going to happen with Keyshawn Nixon. But if we're without Williams, without Alexander, all of a sudden we're missing 2 out of our 4 best secondary players. It's tough. So, and just a couple other, notes there. I mean, the Lions are, besides Hutch, they're pretty healthy. Malcolm Rodriguez is maybe likely to miss the game, but they're nearly at full strength, and that's not to discredit Adrian Hutchinson's impact, though, because that's a big difference maker for them. So, Rob,
sure.
So tell me what you think is going to happen in this game tomorrow. Give me a score prediction.
Yeah, so Packers have gone 4-0 against the AFC South, and they've gone 4-0 in the month of October. True facts and stats. Unfortunately, I do think the Detroit Lions are the best team in the league right now. I think, whether it's Jordan Love, you come out, the Jaguars secondary is supposed to be, quote unquote, some of their biggest weakness over there. Insert Tyson Campbell, who's their number 1 corner. He's a very, very, very good cornerback, especially in man, from what I was seeing. They got some playmakers back there. Detroit Lions are able to do almost literally everything on offense, including having the running backs and offensive line with all catch touchdowns or throw touchdowns. They're just an absolute monster. It seems like they're kind of just playing around at this point with some teams, and I think the score would be evident to that. So long story short, I think Malik Willis, I love that game plan, that game script coming out, button it out, RPO, and I think he could execute that well. I'm not as confident in him if we got to throw it 20, 25 plus, whatever times a game, or maybe he'll come out and just absolutely light it up, and I'll be wrong. I want to be wrong on that, but anyways, I give the Packers to lose to the Lions 24-30.
Yeah, and I won't be long-winded here. I'll give you 2 predictions. I'll give you my Willis prediction, and I'll give you my Love prediction, because I do think that there is a tangible difference. Although, I don't know. I mean, 80% healthy Love might be just as good as a 100% Malik Willis. But as I alluded to, they're going to have to pass the ball in this game to be successful. I don't know how comfortable the Packers are with allowing Malik Willis to throw the ball 22, 24 times, and I just don't know that's enough to make the game balanced from the offensive side. So I think the Lions, will be hard-pressed to keep them under, 30 points. So with Malik Willis starting, I see a 30-20 victory for the Lions, and we find a way to score, we find a way to be efficient, but they're just a better team on Sunday. With Jordan Love, I like our odds of being a little bit closer if he is close to healthy. I see it more of like a 31-30 kind of game. It could really go either way. I don't want to cop out and say, I predict the Packers to win if Jordan Love's back. I just think it'll be a much closer game, a 1-point game, a 2-point game, with either team coming out as a victor. But the Lions, they're a great team right now. So, I think as both teams build and meet later in the year, and hopefully both teams are healthy, we'll see what happens in December. So,
yeah,
take us home, Rob.
Buckle up. It's going to be fun, man. We got a great division, and it's going to be an awesome matchup. Cannot wait to watch this one with you all. So yeah, just know that we are here every Wednesday and every Saturday. Wednesday is our recap from the game previous. Saturday is our preview for the upcoming game. As always, Jordan and I are on X as well. I am at Robber79. Jordan is at Olson Jord. So make sure to hit us up there, and we'd love to engage with you guys there too as well. Of course, we're on YouTube where you're probably watching this, or Spotify, as well, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on those platforms as well. But let's go in. Let's have some hope, everybody. I did pick the Lions to win, but I really hope that I'm wrong in many different ways, and that the Packers come out with some fire underneath their butts and take this for a win. So hope you guys have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Let's go, Pack.
Go, Pack.
Been wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey.